What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video on the channel. If this is your first time here, welcome. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. If you guys are returning, thank you guys again very much for all the support lately. We're about to hit 10,000 subs, man. That's a crazy milestone, but today for you guys, I'm going to bring you guys the best settings. Some of these settings are the same on both PC and console, but for those of you guys looking for PC settings, this unfortunately isn't the video. However, I will be going over some controller-based settings like the Deadzone and stuff like that. Now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and go through the best settings, in my personal opinion, on Modern Warfare. I guess the first thing we can do is bang out the controller settings right away. I personally like to use the default button layout, but of course, if you guys are on a default controller, playing tactical or even playing on bumper jumper could potentially be useful for you guys. I use a Battle Weaver controller. You can use code DOOM, by the way, on those. So I play on the default button layouts. Next, kind of going through this list, the Deadzone setting is probably the most important setting you could potentially change. I'm actually going to go ahead and show you guys the easiest way to calibrate your Deadzone now. All right, so the best way to actually go and change your Deadzone setting, this is honestly, again, one of the most asked questions I get, because a lot of people, one, don't even know what it does. So I'm going to go ahead and explain to you guys exactly what that does really quick. So basically, the Deadzone setting is a fix to all stick drift. So if I turn this Deadzone setting all the way down, there's literally zero Deadzone. My controller, you guys see that? How my controller, I'm not touching it at all, but my crosshair on the screen is actually moving kind of up and to the right. The Deadzone essentially is a counter for stick drift. This is like a faulty kind of, I guess, if you will, part of controllers. So the Deadzone setting, what it does is it basically creates a dead zone from both left to right and up and down, where you basically have to move your analog stick for it to actually like trigger the motion. So it creates a dead zone around the center of the analog sticks. That way you don't get that annoying stick drift, right? So the best way to actually find your Deadzone setting is to actually go into Warzone and go to the minimap. And what I like to do is I like to zoom in so you guys can actually see it, and go in here and turn it all the way off. By default, it's on 0.05. Turn it off and just keep going up until your analog stick actually stops moving on its own. So I'm still getting a little bit of it. Like I'm getting a tiny little bit of it at 0.03. So I'm just going to go ahead and crank this up to 0.5 again. I'm still getting actually a little bit more of it right there. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to crank it up. And it looks like at 0.08, I no longer have any stick drift. So 0.08 would be my Deadzone setting. This is really important. I know you guys might be thinking that this is going to mess your aim up. It's not a giant difference. You will probably notice a little bit of a difference. But the Deadzone setting, it's a pretty fine-tuned setting. And honestly, like getting used to your configured Deadzone is going to be much more beneficial than using the default one, which you most likely are going to have stick drift on. Like I said, I do have stick drift on it, because it's going to allow you to actually aim exactly where you want to without your analog stick. Like you can imagine, right, being like mid gunfight and your analog stick is like kind of pulling you up into the left or up into the right, or even like down potentially, right? It's going to screw up your aim, especially when you're trying to control the recoil of whatever gun you're using. So getting used to your configured Deadzone is huge, and I really recommend it. Sensitivity is something that I honestly recommend you guys just go into a custom match and try out and shoot some bots, maybe see what feels good to you guys. If those of you guys that may be wondering how to improve your aim, honestly, I think the best possible way to improve your aim is to go into custom games and shoot bots with the guns you like and turn off your aim assist. That way you guys have literally zero aim assist when practicing. So that way it feels a lot better when you actually hop into a game with your aim assist. Just make sure you guys turn it back on, because that would be bad. Next off, for the aim response curve type, I like dynamic, but some people do like linear. I feel like I'm a little more precise when it comes to dynamic as opposed to linear. I feel like it just allows for more or less fine-tuned movement. So try them out. Let me know what you guys think down below. If you guys like linear or dynamic, or if you guys maybe don't even change it at all and just use standard. Next, turn off controller vibration. I know this is something that probably people are going to advise against, but honestly, like, just kind of logically think about it. I feel like if you have a controller vibrating in your hand as you're like trying to shoot and kill people, your hands are going to be shaking, and I feel like it's a little harder to like hit people. I honestly feel like turning off vibration has helped my aim a lot. That in combination with the dynamic aim response curve. I play on the standard aim assist. I honestly don't recommend changing this. Some people have tried to change it. Literally don't change this. Like, just trust me, please. For the rest of this, I wouldn't change anything else besides potentially the use or reload behavior. If you guys mainly play multiplayer, I would just leave it on tap to reload. If you guys play Warzone, I highly recommend, especially if you're on controller, to get used to the contextual tap. It just makes everything a lot quicker when it comes to looting and picking up stuff. That way you guys can get guns before other people and, of course, get kills before other people. The slide behavior, I like to use tap. Some people like to use hold. I don't know. I don't think it makes a giant difference because when you're slide canceling anyway, if you guys don't know what that is, by the way, make sure you guys go check out my TikTok because I made a really good tutorial on that. It's just KingProdigy over there. Using the tap slide feature, I feel like it just makes it a little easier when I'm going through my slide cancels and just moving around the map more quickly. So I usually don't like to use the hold. It's just not my thing. Also, I've seen a lot of people using the automatic sprint. I do not recommend using this. There's a lot of different reasons or not using it. But long story short, there's certain times where it's gonna hurt you more than it's gonna help you. Especially if you're like mid gunfight, trying to like aim in from tactical sprint or like from sprint itself sometimes is significantly slower. So I feel like it's best to be able to kind of control when you're in that sprinting position, although it may kind of take a toll on your analog stick. I can understand maybe turning it on if you're having a lot of issues with your left analog sticks, kind of like dying out with the button and stuff like that. But outside of that, you're not having issues, I honestly would leave it off. If you guys like to play Warzone, I highly recommend turning off the vehicle camera recenter. It's on by default, but basically what this does is when you're looking left and right with the analog stick, say like if you're in a car or something like that, right? Looking to like the left, it'll automatically recenter you so you're facing forward again after like I think like 3 or 4 seconds. I would honestly turn that off if you guys do use cars or vehicles and stuff like that. And that is all of the controller settings that I have for you guys. Again, some of these might transfer over to mouse and keyboard, but let's go ahead and get into these settings for all of the platforms. So first off, in the general settings, I personally like to use a 55 brightness. It's going to kind of depend, 1, on your monitor, and 2, on how bright you like your game. Honestly, I just use the markers to the right of the screen, and you'll get a pretty good feel of the brightness you should use. Next off, film grain is on by default. You guys can kind of see this on the right here. See how it kind of makes your game look fuzzy? You don't want that. Obviously, it makes it harder to see people. I don't know if they were just going for like a more realistic look, but it looks terrible. So turn off film grain. It's at 0.25 by default. Turn it all the way to 0. Next off, the world and weapon motion blur are 2 settings I am tired of seeing people use. Stop using motion blur, please, bro. It hurts my eyes, and you're hurting yourself. Makes it harder to see people when you look to the left and to the right. Compare these pictures here on the right. Do you think you're gonna be able to see somebody down by that truck, kind of off to the bottom right here, past the house? Kind of look out that way, right? You guys think it's gonna be easier to see somebody without the motion blur on or with it on, bro? You know what I'm saying? Just like look far away, right? You're not gonna be able to see people. Turn it off so you can see people, please. And next off, here's actually kind of like a low-key tip, but if you change your mini-map shape from a circle to a square, I don't know if you guys can see this, but turning it from a circle to a square actually gives you a little bit wider range on the minimap itself, which is personally, I think, really helpful. It lets you kind of see people a little bit kind of further out, as opposed to that circle minimap where you kind of get the corners cut off, right? So it's a larger area minimap. So that's obviously really helpful. That actually is going to cover all of the general settings for console. If you guys are on PC, I suggest switching this audio mix to boost low. If you guys play on console, you guys should put your audio preset to boost high to better hear footsteps. It's really weird. I don't know how to explain it. I play the updates because it updates faster on PC, and I've noticed a significant difference in changing it to boost low versus boost high. I don't know why it's boost high for console, but boost high 100% is the easiest way to hear people's footsteps on console, and boost low is by far like night and day difference. The easiest way to hear somebody on PC. So make sure you guys are using those audio settings. Next off, the master volume, music volume, all this volume stuff is kind of personal preference. I honestly don't like the music, so I turn it down. The dialogue volume is like the announcers and all that kind of jazz. If you guys don't want to hear that stuff, just turn it down. Sometimes it tells you about like the airstrikes and stuff, and that's kind of important if you don't get the visual cue. Again, going into the voice chat settings down below, a lot of these again are personal preference. And also this voice chat effect is on some like classic chatter. There's like it puts like a really weird effect on all of the voice chats, and it makes it sound terrible. And this is on by default, so make sure you guys are turning off this setting and to set it to no effect. And then lastly, some of the account settings. To be honest with you guys, I don't recommend playing crossplay if you guys aren't playing people on other platforms, just simply because of the potential to run into hackers, especially for Warzone. That's super important because you guys definitely don't want to put 10 to 20 minutes into a game of Warzone just to die to a hacker. That's like one of the most frustrating feelings in the world. I've had it happen to me multiple times, bro. And that, to be honest with you guys, is all of my settings for Modern Warfare. I keep getting asked this question a lot, so I figured I'd just go ahead and make another video on my settings. If you guys have any questions, I'll be getting back to you guys down below in the comments. And of course, if you guys found this information useful or anything that you guys learned in this video, make sure you guys, again, let me know down in the comments below. And of course, sub to the channel if you guys are new and want to stay up to date with all the tips, the news, the class setups, man, the whole deal. I'm uploading every other day now, so that's just kind of the best schedule. And I'm also always streaming on Twitch every single day. That's what we're going to be doing every other day uploads. That way I kind of have enough time to both edit the videos I want to upload and actually get the gameplays in the videos for that. So make sure you guys definitely come through over to the Twitch streams games. They're a lot of fun. We're creeping up on 1,000 Twitch subs, man, so that's nuts. Seriously, guys, thank you guys for watching to the end of the video. Really do appreciate you guys all being here, and hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you guys are at, and peace.